Hi, and welcome to the Women's Business Society podcast, where you can listen to the experts while I pick their brains for hot tips and tricks to help grow your business. Thank you to our major sponsor, Book It Bookkeeping, and a shout out to all our members, with a special mention to So Beautiful, who provides all the gifts at our WBS networking events. Oh, hello everybody. So today we're going to be speaking to Kirsten Flavell from Map Your Brand to discuss how to create branded content that attracts your ideal client. And I know for all our listeners out there, this is a big topic, an interesting topic, and I'm so excited to have Kirsten join us today. So Kirsten, please tell us about your business, Map Your Brand. By the way, I love your name, I love your logo, and I love your energy. So please just share with us a bit more about you.
Awesome. Thank you for having me. Well, actually, Map Your Brand started as a consultation. I used to be, well, I still am, a commercial photographer, and I worked with just about every industry you can imagine. I'm a qualified photographer, so I have a diploma of photo imaging. And so as I was photographing people, they would say to me, I really want to be photographed. I can't wait, but I don't know what photos I need yet. And so I started thinking, well, hang on, I better help you work it out. You're not going to work it out on your own, because when I worked as a brand photographer, actually, when I still do, create image libraries. So it would be pretty hard for a business owner to write a list of 500 images that they wanted. So I created a consultation called Map Your Brand. More and more people started coming for the consultation who already had photos. They might have been MLM businesses and had or franchise owners and had a library of images, but they didn't know how to use them. They just wanted to know how to, or they were small business owners who didn't have the money to invest in a professional photographer and wanted to take their own. It didn't matter. There were heaps and heaps of people just came for this Map Your Brand consultation. So I realized it's actually a business on its own. And so I kept the name and I created a whole brand.
Fantastic.
That's how it started.
How did you come up with the name? Because I know this is a bit that requires lots of thinking and thought and
Yes.
a long process. And is this really the name? And all that. So how did you come up with your name?
So every person that I spoke to that wanted images and didn't know what of, it turned out they actually didn't know what a brand was. They'd say, no, I've got my brand. And I'd say, okay, well, tell me about it. Let's make images up that, support that brand. And they would show me their logo and tell me the color that it was. It's like, well, hang on, that's not a brand. That's a logo. Yeah. That's your graphics or, that's your brand identity perhaps, but it's not your brand. And so I knew that I needed to teach them what a brand was. And then we needed to map how to tell that story.
Yeah.
Okay, Map Your Brand.
Yeah,
it was
fantastic.
Pretty simple, but it did take a lot of, it probably took me 3 years of working with my photography clients. And each client that I worked with, I went and bought all these 64-cent scrapbooks from Officeworks, and I created all these pages, and I just spoke to them and took the answers, and I'd be making up all of this stuff. And I realized what I'm doing is creating a workbook. And if I create that workbook, everybody can do it. So that was the first step.
Okay, so now we're going to dive into the 5 focus areas. So make sure if you need to go get a pen and paper now, get it, because Kirsten has got some really great tips to help you. There's going to be slides included and also a link to her workshop. So if you want to get more clarity on 5 of these and work together and create a really good brand and content for yourself, then those links will be included. So we've got business, you, client, money, perfect day. I hope you got your pen and paper. Otherwise, just pause it and go get it. So Kirsten, business.
Excellent. Okay, so business. We need to have a list of everything that our business offers. So if we're product-based, we need a list of every product that we offer. If we're service-based, every service. If we're a combination, obviously you need both. So what does your business offer? Another hint that comes into the perfect day is highlight the ones that you actually enjoy doing and maybe put a line through the ones that you don't. The next step is what your business values are. So they need to align with your client, which we'll get to later on, but it's really important that you understand your business values. So why are you running this business? What is this business? What's the aim for your client? What are the values that you want them to understand? Then when and where do you operate? So are you bricks and mortar? Are you on a website? Are you local? What areas do you service? They need to know that you can service them. What else is important to note about your business? So do you have goals to introduce new products or new services? You need to write those down as well. Then you. Now, I do you a little bit differently. I know the selfie became very popular in the last couple of years and everybody, sees all over Instagram. That works for some businesses. Other people that I work with are really self-conscious about doing that. And that's fair enough. Some people want more separation between their business and their private life. So I focus on your role within the business. So what is your role? What position do you hold within your business? What are your qualifications or experience? So that's about your client trusting that you can provide them the service or the product that they're purchasing from you. And then what are your values? Because again, they have to align with your business and they need to align with your client. What are your available hours? So there's no point, you have to know when you're available to work, because you need your clients to understand. They need to know. So some people work on weekends, some people work during the day. You're in business, you choose your hours, make sure your clients understand when you're working. What parts of you are you comfortable sharing? So is there parts of you, your personal life, that actually support your brand? You may have experienced something. You may have done a course many, many years ago. You might have held a position that actually supports why you are qualified to do what you do in your business. So just consider what parts of you are you comfortable sharing. So another part about that is, it comes up often, is children. So I have one business where I talk about the fact I have children. That's Map Your Brand. And my other business, photography, it has nothing to do with my clients whether or not I have children. So I don't. So there's two different businesses. I have two different you profiles. And then what do you add to your business? It's really important. People need to know why they're using you. The third step is your client. So we've spoken about, we need to know our business values and our values. We also need to know our clients' values. We need to know where they hang out. Really, really important one. So make sure you write this one down, is we need to know what their fears are, their problems, and their dreams. Because basically we're going to be creating a business that addresses their fears, problems, and dreams. And hopefully we're going to solve them all. Then you need to know how much money do they have, because, you just need to know that. There's no point if you're marketing to people that can't afford to pay what you have. You can adjust your products and your services perhaps, but it's really important that you are, you're aligned with the money they have and the money you're charging. And then of course you need to know where they're based and how do they want to connect with you. So do they want to be on Zoom, or do they want to come and find you in a shop? What is it that they need? A really good way to monitor this is, of course, feedback and testimonials. Ask questions. I know I've worked with lots of business owners that don't want to say, hey, what did you think? How did I help you? Could you give me feedback? Because they're a bit nervous about it. And that's understandable. But if you don't get that feedback, you can't customize your packages or your services. You can't provide what people need, and you can't improve on something that might be missing. You also feel really good when it's great feedback. So always ask for feedback. Money. So
I'm going back a point about feedback, because people don't ask for it and they need to ask for it. And what, with the power of feedback, can you explain actually what happens with that, what that is?
Yeah, well, I have so every person that works with me, at the end of them, I say to them, I have a feedback form. If I send that through to you, with gratitude, I will accept all feedback, because it's going to help me. It's going to help me realise if I'm missing anything, if there's more that I could add in, or if I've completely missed the mark. And also, if you could give me a testimonial, if you liked it, then it's going to help me promote my business. And people are generally pretty, they're pretty good with that. So I think the point is that it will help you monitor that you're doing valuable work. Also, it's where you get ideas from. Like, feedback can be in a conversation. It doesn't have to be formal like my feedback form. Listening to people. The reason I started brand photography is I was working with a pretty famous psychotherapist, and she came in and we were just taking corporate portraits. We ended up taking 87 photos for this woman, and she uses them all still. This is a few years ago. But at the end of it, she said, oh, I wish I had a thought and I had this and I had that, and I could have had one with this, and this would have worked. And I talked to a lot of people about this, and I'm going to start doing online dating, and I'm going to start talking about, all all problems that people have. And it's like, wow, okay, well, that is actually that was the first little spark that I had to start Map Your Brand Up, because she was telling me what else, if she had a plan, she would have been able to include. So feedback is very, very powerful.
Yeah. And just to add to that, which is a really important point, is that feedback and reviews, you use that in your marketing. Now, with WBS, if I just stood on a platform and said, we're awesome, we're great, we support you, people would be like, yeah, so everyone says that. But if I have a review, which I get my reviews, and I create an image, and I put my logo and website and all those things, because you want to make those connections, you want to make those call to action. So people look, oh, wow, another woman just like me loves this business. Oh, there's the name, there's the website. I want to go check this out. And it's super powerful, because I let other people sell my business, because everyone is standing on a big platform saying, look at me, I'm so good. You don't want to be doing that. You want others to do that for you. And then it's just like a ripple effect. And then eventually you're just helping clients and they're doing the marketing for you. So reviews and feedback is what I think WBS for me, living on the other side of the world.
Testimonials.
Testimonials and reviews. And you get people sharing, getting excited about your business. You collect all of that and you use that in your marketing, and it's super powerful. If you just did that and no other image, I think you'd be doing really well.
And look, I can say as a photographer, I would put up a corporate portrait and I would put there what you call a testimonial, but it would be their feedback. I felt so relaxed, blah blah blah. I then worked, which is really left of field here, but I owned a kitchen showroom for a little while. Mm-hmm. And the feedback that I got, I turned into stories, because feedback is stories. You're explaining why people, what you did for them and what. So that whole thing about their problems. So there was a story I have of a client, Bruce and Sally. They came in, they told me how they used their kitchen, or how they wanted to use their kitchen, and why they couldn't use it how they wanted to. And I wrote a story all about, this is what they came into the showroom and they said, this is how their kitchen was, and this is how we address their problems, and this is now how they're living their dream. Yeah. And that one blog post got so much attention, and people used to ring me and say, I love Bruce and Sally's kitchen. And I would think that they'd been there, and that they were friends of Bruce and Sally. They'd never met them. They read the whole thing on my website. So it works across industries. It works for everybody. Feedback becomes a story. It becomes a connection. It becomes a point of interest. It's really, really
and people don't realize how much they rely on feedback. So if I'm looking for a restaurant, I always type into Google, I look at the reviews. I even did that when I was looking for new schools. I went on and you look at that to find out, okay, what did they think? And you do on eBay, you go check the feedback. If someone's on 97, you're like, why are they 97? And you go and read the feedback. We do it on a constant thing. We won't actually buy businesses that don't have good feedback. So a little tip right now, if you're listening and you haven't actually done this, today I want you to go ask for feedback, or go get feedback and turn it into a post for Instagram and for Facebook and for LinkedIn, and do it, because you use it every day. You need your clients or potential clients, to know more about you. And I think when people are not doing that, I call it hiding in business. You are purposely trying to stick your head in the sand so no one sees you. So I dare you and challenge you to go and feed, and you've got good feedback. Everyone's got it. If you haven't, go ask for it. So I just need to add that, because that is massive to a business, is that feedback. So sorry to interrupt you. I just wanted to anyone who was listening that didn't get that point, go and get feedback and use it, and it will make your life easier. Okay.
Yeah, it is scary, but it's so worth it. It is so worth it. Yeah. And then money. So this is the next piece of paper. We need to know where money comes into your business and where it goes out. And you can look at that and assess that to see if, you're not charging enough and you've got too many expenses. That's one part of this whole aspect. The other is, you need to know who gives you their money. So I've worked with businesses where they've said that their main clients only bring in 30% of their incoming money, and the smaller portion bring in 70%. So that's, not too hard to work out. Those 30% that aren't bringing in the money, you need to be focusing on the ones that are bringing in the money.
Absolutely.
The perfect day is the last aspect of branding. And when I talk about the perfect day, I am talking about what things can you add to your day to make you feel good. So you've mentioned that you go to the gym. For me, it's about being able to pick up my son from school and drop him off, which was unexpected. And I haven't been that mum for a long time. But when I got to Melbourne and found out there was no school bus, it was like, whoa. So I had to change how I do business. And so it's about what's going to work. If I had to, if I was employed and I could not pick him up from school and he had to be in before and after school care, then the guilt would be dropping in. Yeah. I don't have to do that. I didn't want to move a child 950 kilometres and then stick him in before and after school care every day. So the perfect day for me was I'm going to alter my workload around 9 o'clock and 3 o'clock. So I'm always available at those times. So it could be that we just talked about money. So perhaps you haven't outsourced yet and you have to do your bookkeeping, but you really don't like it. Know something that will make that okay and kind of reward yourself for it. Have some goals, make sure you reach them and celebrate them as you achieve them. So what kind of things do you need to make this business really work for you, your family, your lifestyle, your dreams, your goals? What else can you do to make it really good? So it's not talking about spending a day at the beach every week or anything, but just making sure that you are running a business that works for you. So if you don't want to work, like I actually quite like working weekends. I worked yesterday in Sydney, but for me, that was a perfect day because my best friend turned 60 on the weekend. I actually had people that were asking me for photo shoots in Sydney. I said, if you do it on this date, I can do it, which meant that I got to go to my friend's 60th. So to me, that was perfect. I got some work done. I met up with old clients there. I, had relationships. I met new people, sold a few workbooks, and it was kind of a weekend away as well. So it's all about understanding what you need to make this running your business, because it's hard work running your own business. And I think people get quite a shock when they've moved from corporate into this, working for themselves and being the boss and giving themselves a break. So they're the 5 things. So business, you, money, the client, and the perfect day. If you have all of those worked out and you can condense those, each page, you should have 5 pages there. If you can condense each one of those pages into one sentence, that's basically your 1-page brand map, which is what my 6 Steps to Clarifying Your Brand course does. And every time you put up content, if it addresses those things, that's perfect content. Yeah.
Fantastic. So your website is quite easy, mapyourbrand.com.au. If you're looking for workshops, it's just /workshops. I'm actually on your site right now. It's quite easy to navigate through. You've got get started workshop bookings, collaborations. You've got
I work with different collaborators, so lots of different content creators. Once they've been through the process, they all say, can I do it too? Like, my clients would love this. So it's really quite cool.
Yeah, fantastic. So I want to ask you a few questions just to wrap this up.
Excellent.
So what do you love most about running your own business?
The freedom, I think, and the fact that, I can, I love helping people at the base of it all. I've done quite a lot of personal work, and I am someone who wants people to succeed. I love seeing people have a dream and then actually going for it. So that's, and I can decide how I help them with that, and because I'm doing it my way, the people that are coming to me believe in that way, and so I'm working with like-minded people.
Okay, so what's the biggest obstacle that you have come across in business and you've overcome, or maybe you haven't overcome it, but one that you have overcome to show some of those skills that you have to, because every single day in business you are given an obstacle and you have to learn very quickly how to overcome it. You just get quicker and quicker and quicker. Sometimes it takes 2 weeks to get over a barrier. But for you, what's an obstacle that stands out and how did you overcome it?
It's very visual. I can see it right now. It was the move from being a photographer behind the camera to being Map Your Brand. And when I realised that I'm moving to a space that I don't know anyone, so I have to start from scratch, which means I have to go out there and really believe in what I'm doing and talk to people. It was about it was about doing what I do for everybody else for myself, I think. It's very easy to teach people, no, you need to be visible, go and tell your story. But when you're in a room full of, and, you know, I didn't even know where the suburb I live in was until I drove here. So that's why I looked at WBS, because they were everywhere. And I knew that wherever we move, there will be a WBS networking group. So that's one I can definitely join. But I didn't know anyone. And I put myself out there any time that people talked about Melbourne, or, you know, I made so many coffee dates before I even got here and spoke to people before I got here. So that was the biggest thing for me, to realise I am moving and I actually have to make this happen. And look, in 5 months, I've been back to Sydney 4 times, and I've got lots and lots of people there, and I love all of them, but I need to be really either working from my office or I need to be working locally, because that's, just how it is.
Yeah.
So it's actually taking the mask off myself and moving the camera out of my way.
Yeah. Okay, so the next one is, where do you see Map Your Brand in the next, let's do a year?
In a year? I've got about a year left of my course. So I'm going to kind of speak more about the counselling side of it, because that's what my diploma or my degree is going to be in, and I already do use counselling skills quite a lot. I mean, people work through the workbook and don't realise, but there's a process to it. And counselling is basically communication. So I definitely will be more vocal about that. I'm starting up accountability groups, because people go through this process and then they have all these ideas for content, but actually making sure that they produce the content and use it every month. So that's been something that people have been asking about. I don't know what else. As I say, I'm very much an observer of listening to what people want, and if I can create that, then I'll do that and just grow with them.
Okay, so when you plan your year, do you have a set, like, I want 5 more clients, I want this, you know, do you sort of map it out like that, or you just sort of go with the flow? What's your sort of process with?
I have gone from being very, very strict on having books that have my 1 year, 5 year, 10-year plan.
Yeah.
And I got divorced, I moved areas, I then moved states, I live with somebody different, my children, you know, went off and got their lives, I have 1 child left. My life is nothing like was ever written down in those plans.
Yeah.
And so I am very much a fluid, just go with what comes. So I say yes to everything, actually not everything, I shouldn't say that, but I say yes a lot. And it's going to jump me out of my comfort zone. I work out why that's, you know, I've got resistance there, and if it's not valid, then I go and do it. But I'm very pleased with how I have progressed now, and I think it comes with just a level of trust. I remind myself I am okay, I'm well supported, I'm secure, I have plans. Map Your Brand is, I mean, I would love it to be global. I guess I've already sold workbooks and done consultations overseas, and I keep getting lovely photos of everyone traveling with my workbook, which is awesome. So at the moment it's in the US and in Europe somewhere. So, but it's meant to be a community, and I want that to really expand. So, I'm always moving forward into it being bigger than I can. What I guess comes down to is it's bigger than I can actually visualize at the moment, and I know that. So it's just. I'll just keep working. Yeah, just keep going.
So where can someone find one of your workbooks? I wouldn't mind getting my hands on
I have them online. You just order it through somewhere there. I should be on your
website.
Yeah, it's on the web. Oh, actually, lots of places it says get started today. Buy my workbook. And it's quite powerful. It's I'm doing a course at the moment, and we got feedback on our brand, which was quite an interesting process for me. And somebody mentioned that I'm not sure if this is a good thing or a bad thing, but it almost looks like a colouring in book, very creative. And it's like, yeah, that's the point. You're not meant to feel like you're strapped to this business plan. So it's quite relaxed and fun. And yeah, all over the website, there's lots of spaces, but if you go to, I'll just open it so I get the exact
I'm
page.
on the Get Started page. So we've got 6 steps to clarifying your brand, free online course. I'll share the link. Oh, here we go. Get a bit further down. Get started today, and it's by a workbook. There we go. Okay, yeah. I'll share that page. Awesome.
Yeah. So the workbook, it's actually called Let's Talk About Images. But as I said, when I printed it, which was 3 weeks before I moved to Melbourne, it was for my photography clients, and they came to me for photography. So I talked about the photography, but we actually cover all content, because a photograph is only half the story. You need the words to go with it. You need videos to go with it. My whole website, which I'm really pleased you said is easy to navigate, because it was all done once I did the workbook myself. I found myself a web designer and said, you need to fix this. It doesn't work. And so it will help you wherever you present yourself. In the next couple of weeks, I'm putting together, it'll be available as a free download. So far on my list, I have 55 places where you can place content so that people understand how big this content is.
Yeah.
There's lots of platforms to actually put brand and to tell your story. And every Friday, I have a guest content creator expert. I think a few WBS members have done that as well, which is really cool. So every Friday, and I have that blog, it's called Brand Clarity. And that's where each person comes in and explains why brand clarity is important for them to create content. So you get an idea there of just how many forms of content there are.
As you're talking, I'm actually on your website joining your mailing list. I love receiving emails from my members and seeing what you guys help me keep up to date with all the fantastic things. How often do you, with mailing lists, how often do you mail out?
Well, the mailing list, I've actually kept that to once a month. And at this stage, I have been doing, so the first month was business, the second month was you. So it's basically what we've been through today. Yeah. And once a month. So I'm doing, this month I'm actually focusing on clients. So all my Instagram is pink, because I'm not sure if you worked it out, but all my branding, each colour represents a different aspect of brand. Mm-hmm. So whenever I post something that's blue, I'm talking about business. And whenever I post anything that's orange, I'm talking about you. Pink is for client, green is for money, and the lime colour is the perfect day.
Yeah, I'm just getting it on there now. I can see it. It looks really cool. Yeah, I think go and check out Map Your Brand Instagram, guys. It's quite cool. You've got some great things up
lots
there.
Lots of testimonials on there.
Yeah, lots of testimonials, people.
It's the best way for people when other people explain what they got out of the workbook or the online course or whatever it is that they did. That's just the best story for people to understand what a brand is.
Yes.
The testimonials for me are just perfect.
All right. Well, let's wrap up. Is there anything else? Normally I ask silly questions. Actually, one more question I have for you. It's a silly one. I just always like to know. What's your favourite ice cream? You don't eat ice cream.
No. Oh my goodness. I am actually dairy intolerant.
Oh, really? You're the only second person I've asked that said I don't eat it or I'm allergic to it. But you could eat it, like a whole bucket full.
I still do, and I pay for it. Vanilla. I just like a good vanilla ice cream.
Oh, my son's like that. I don't understand people like vanilla. There's like so many other flavors. My son loves vanilla. He made me buy it last night. He's like, can you buy me vanilla ice cream? So I don't know whether I can do that.
If I'm going to go and have a gelato, I want to get a coffee or a, what's the chocolate? It's called the Ferrero Rocher. That's my favourite.
Yeah. That's good. You can always tell someone's personality by what sort of ice cream that they like, but it doesn't work out because my middle son's an extrovert. He's like, super cool and he likes vanilla. So my theory didn't actually match up. He just debunked the whole thing. And you did as well, because you're lively and you like vanilla. Maybe it's the opposite. The more lively you are, the plainer you like your ice cream. So I'm training to be a psychologist, so everything for me is like a correlation.
What is it? I need to diagnose this person and put them in a little box.
Exactly.
Whereas in counselling, it's a total opposite. It's like, so why would you like vanilla ice cream? What does vanilla ice cream mean?
That's what psychology is about. We don't box people, actually. It's nothing like that. It's actually, we don't do a lot of psychology. You're learning to be almost a mini scientist, so we do a lot of research. But definitely not box. We actually want to know why a person, exactly like counselling, but why a person does that. So we look at the brain and visual perception.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You're looking at those things, whereas we're more speaking to them and asking them and believing them rather than trying to work it out and make a pattern of it, I guess.
Yeah, I know that's only for research papers. Psychologists, obviously, that's what we have to diagnose them, so we can't make any assumptions there.
No, that's right.
All fun and games. Okay, well, it's been really lovely speaking to you.
Thank you for having me.
That's okay. We'll make sure we share all those links. So thank you very much.
Excellent.
So that's it for this episode of the WBS Podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. You can find all our episodes on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, or by searching for Women's Business Society on any podcast player. If you're a female entrepreneur, head on over to WBSociety.com to find out how you can become a member. Whilst you're there, check out the WBS magazine, which is full of tips to help grow your business. The Women's Business Society promotes, connects and motivates female entrepreneurs. We look forward to seeing you next time. Bye.